Please put your hands together for my dear friend, Miss Andrea Bettger.
Well, I live on an island called Jolliffe Island on the Great Slave Lake, and it's a cabin. It's a cabin that is without power. We're living off the grid and trying to figure out how to live in that sort of way, you know, getting our own water and you know, solar panels and commuting back and forth to Yellowknife, of course, and to the island, although it's not very far, but it can be challenging. Open water time is a little bit harder with kids and getting them in canoes and big winds and whatnot. And then, you know, in winter time, the ice freezes up so that we can walk, then we can skidoo, and then we can actually drive our car right up to the house. So, yeah, so we've been doing that for 6 years, I guess now, and are hoping to do it for a bunch more. I came north in 2003, and I was living in Toronto. I was teaching in Toronto, and I just, I really felt the need for a change. I loved Toronto, and I loved everything that it offered to me musically and just in all aspects of my life. So I just literally threw some resumes up north. I thought it would be a different thing to try, and here we are now in 2016, and we were married here, and we have 2 kids that we're raising here, and this is home now. Both my parents are musicians, and they're both music teachers as well, and it spreads through the whole family. So my sister is a musician, music teacher, my brother, all of my aunts and uncles, my grandparents. So yeah, we have a veritable, you know, band, orchestra, symphony orchestra when we get together on occasions such as Christmas, and everybody plays a different instrument, everybody sings, and so it's quite a natural thing that I fell into. My dad's an organist, and my mom's a pianist, and they're both singers. And they started all 3 of us on the violin. My sister went off to the viola after a while, so we didn't have such a competition between the 2 instruments. We're only 14 months apart, so that, you know, when we were 16 or so, that became a bit of an issue. So she went to the viola, and my brother sort of went off to the guitar, and I stuck with the violin. That's sort of where I felt comfortable. Sometimes I say that I play the violin, you know, on certain days, and other days I play the fiddle, depending on what kind of mood I'm in. But, you know, really the fiddle anymore is just the style of music that you choose to play. I am interested in hearing some people that are still around playing fiddle, like Richard Lafferty and Angus Bolio. They just have this great, earthy, sort of almost percussive sound to them, and that's the real sound of northern fiddle when I think of that sound that sort of attracted me to the music in the first place. I teach at Calumet Dene School in Dilo. I teach a fiddle program there, grades 3 to 8. I also teach at Welladay Catholic School, and I run sort of a fiddle club there. The DELO program is actually new this year, but those students and some of the students of the past have had some exposure to fiddle music from a program I ran years ago. Thankfully, the principal is very supportive of the fiddle program, and she's managed to have it in her school as a regular part of the curriculum. And the Welladay program as well has been probably going on 4 or 5 years now that those kids have been playing, and some of them now are in high school and playing really well. I was noticing that just recently, being at that school. It's beautiful outside. The kids have been, you know, inside for a lot of the winter, and the sun's out, and they come to the fiddle class ready to learn, keen to learn. Sometimes I've offered like an after-school come and practice program. They don't have to come to that, but they still show up because they want to play Rubber Dolly one more time, and you know, and we had a great spring concert last week, and you know, 98% of the students got up and played in front of quite a big audience, and you know, some of them didn't do that at Christmas time. So you know, you can just see this development in confidence, and also just, you know, they're sounding better and better every day. Oh, the ending was perfect that time. Good thing we tried it again. I feel like the North has really been a place where I've been allowed to grow and to experiment with my ideas. And every time I've played, there's always been a huge amount of support. And that's what really strikes me about Yellowknife in particular, which is obviously where I have the most experience. But there's always going to be a group of people there that they're applauding for you even before you've begun. And that's very special. I really appreciate the support of the North and the inspiration of the people here. I'm involved in what's called the NAC Mentorship Program, the Northern Arts and Cultural Centre Mentorship Program. So they're supporting me to have some guidance in my creative pursuit in trying to create a life as a professional artist. So over the course of the year, I had somebody who actually mentored me, another fiddle player named Calvin Cairns from Victoria. And so he sort of took me under his wing to work on technique, to work on ideas, and to just sort of not take me and change me, but to take where I was at and give me the support that I needed to throw out my own sound into the world. And with my own compositions, we wrote harmonies for them and came up with, I think, a really exciting program of a whole range of tunes. So Calvin helped me to sort of bring it in and make it presentable. And so the concert that I just did was that, and I brought in all of my favorite musicians to help me with that. So Pat Braden, of course, was there, and Al B was there on the drums, Tracy Riley was there, Ryan McCord was there, and Calvin. So I had really splashed out to just have a representation of all of the influences that have been with me for the last, bunch of years, and put together, a big showcase. My husband makes birch syrup, so every May, it's usually the first week of May, we head out to just outside of Yellowknife on the Ingham Trail, and he taps about 400 birch trees and set up a wall tent, and we live out there for the duration of the season, which is a short season. It's usually 3 weeks at best. And it works out really well for our family too, because it's the season usually starts right when the ice is getting too thin to walk across to where we live on the island. So we just live out there, collect sap and boil it down and make about 70 gallons or so by the end of the season. And then by the time the birch season is over, usually there's at least one little path that you can get your canoe through to get back to Dolph Island. So it's a perfect solution to avoid the ice, but also to just get the kids outside and in nature and doing a really fun and interesting activity. I think probably because of years of playing in the sort of the classical world, the romantic side of that really always appealed to me. So the whole gypsy flair thing is always where I sort of hang my hat a little bit. But I'm heavily involved in fiddle music now, being teaching kids how to play the fiddle, and being in the North, that's become the kind of style that's become important to me. So I've sort of, in a way, there's been a sort of fusion happening. So I play these fiddle tunes, but I adapt them to my taste. So there might be a fiddle tune that runs along in a traditional way and then sort of ends up going into a gypsy feel for a while. And so it's, this sort of classical fiddle gypsy fusion thing going on. It's a hard thing sometimes to say, where are you going with your music? Because I feel like it's always led me, and I've started to really try to let that organically happen. And so far that's been working really well. Like I have little recordings and snippets of lyrics, and so I'll go into the studio and I just start playing and see where the music leads me. I do see this idea of these arrangements continuing and taking some traditional tunes and making them my own, because that's a lot of the work that I do get is for a fiddle show, or that's what people are sort of expecting, but to give it a little bit of an eccentric feel. So we're moving out of these gypsy melodies and these loopy ethereal moments into sort of a tune proper where people can get up and dance and still feel like they're a part of a big music party. I guess I just hope ultimately, like, when I play music, that somehow it reaches the people that I'm playing for. And I came sort of from a completely different world, in a sense. You know, I was playing classical violin, playing at these concerts, and what I really love about what I'm doing now, not just in the fiddle world, but the approach that I'm taking to my instrument now is that everybody should be involved, and that we're all having a good time, we're all appreciating what's happening, and even better if people are dancing and, you know, yelling out things in the audience or whatever.